Hi, thanks for coming back. Last week we spoke about how our negative emotions is like that dashboard warning light in your car to warn you of some potential problems. And that's God's way of saying that we are out of his will and need forgiveness. So how are we forgiven? What's God's divine plan? Well, remember, Adam and Eve sinned, and God sacrificed an animal to atone for their sin, to cover their sin. And that was the first animal sacrifice. Now, Paul teaches that the consequences of sin is death. And that's spiritual, eventually physical death also. But it's really basically a separation from God. Sin separates us from God. And the writer of Hebrews says that without the shedding of blood, there can be no forgiveness. And this is why in Leviticus, God instructed Moses that to cover sin, to a temporary forgiveness, the sinner had to sacrifice an unblemished animal. That animal had to be perfect. And this was called the atonement. And the covering of sin is only temporary. They had to do it once a year. And a lot of people, every time they sinned, they used to sacrifice an animal. Imagine how many poor animals got killed during those times, those poor things. The animal was a substitute for us. God allowed it so the animal could take our sins and be sacrificed. In other words, the penalty was death, and that animal was penalized with the death, not us. So the animal was a substitute for us. That death was meant for you and me, not the animal. God had a better plan in mind. At the right time, when he was ready, he would bring in this new plan, a new covenant, something better in store. And that was Jesus. And we'll talk about that next week and the week after on how Jesus's sacrifice on the cross forgave our sins. So until then, God bless. Have a great week. I love you.